Tom Mosley. I'm Rebecca Powers. So happy to be with you again this week. Tom's passion is retiring, is not his retirement, but your retirement. Why is helping people retire in the best way, keeping the most money in their own pockets, such a passion of yours? Because you've done so many things in your life, Tom.
Okay, Rebecca, you know, with me, there's always a story, right? Okay.
I like that.
For 19 years, before I started doing this 27 years ago, I was in the ministry. And I was in the ministry in Indiana and Oklahoma, Texas, and finally California. And then I got into financial services in June the 8th of 1995. And when I had been in the ministry, I'd had people stand in front of my desk because I was always the one they put in charge of benevolence. And I'd had people stand in front of my desk and they were trying to decide, do I buy food or do I buy medicine?
Yeah.
And so when my two managers, my insurance manager and my investment manager, in the little office that I was working out of on Colorado Street in Pasadena, when they came to me after I passed all my licenses and they said, Tom, who do you want to work with? Well, I said, I want to work with retirees. Now, Rebecca, that was 1995. You know how we suffer now from presentism, where we always want to judge everything by the way the rules of society are right now?
Well said, Tom.
In 1995, baby boomers, the oldest baby boomer was just turning 50.
Wow.
And so nobody was working with anybody with retirement. I mean, now every financial advisor that has learned how to spell the word retirement has decided that they're a specialist on retirement, and most of the time they're not.
Right.
Because most investment advisors are really, really good at building for retirement, which is called accumulation. But in retirement, it's entirely different because you have to look at retirement as preservation. Because when you go to work when you're 25 years old, your goal is to make enough money to be able to retire. When you're 65 and you retire, it's to make that money last as long as I do. And I've said before, and I've told you before, that I always tell people that if you will tell me when you first come in the exact day you're going to leave this earth, I can give you a perfect retirement plan. But otherwise, we have to plan on you living 20, 25, 30, maybe even 35 years because people are doing that. So I told them, I said, I want to work with people to make sure they don't run out of money the rest of their life. Well, my company's a little bit weird, Mosley Wealth Management, in that we have a mission statement that developed over time. Most people have this grand vision of going out and starting a company, and they say, well, I want to start a company, and here's my mission statement, okay? And then they build the company to the mission statement. What I did was, I built a company and we developed our mission statement because initially it was to make sure people didn't run out of money the rest of their life. And then we realized after a period of time that, hey, running out of money, a lot of that had to do with paying too much in taxes. So we tacked on to our mission statement, not only helping people not run out of money, but paying as little as they're legally required to pay in taxes. And then just because I've been doing it long enough, we've been successful, and I don't have to have another client in order to be able to eat. And as you can tell, I'm eating really, really well. But we work with pleasant people. So our mission statement has evolved into we work with pleasant people to make sure they never run out of income the rest of their life, and they pay as little as they're legally required to pay in taxes. That's what we do.
I love it.
I know, and that's what we do.
And like you said, now, because there are so many baby boomers coming of age to retire, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, but this is something that you established and knew you wanted to do in 1995, so you were way ahead. All right, so we know that the foundation of our home, and we talked about this all of last week's show, is income. You need that income to keep your standard of living to last you for the rest of your life. I'm 54, so we're going to use me as the case study. Investing. How do I'm kind of in that pivotal, I'm maybe 10 years away, I've accumulated. How much risk should I be taking, and where do you think I should invest?
Well, I'll have to give you a test to do that.
Oh, please don't. I'm not good with tests.
No, you would be great with this test. Because let me back up on that. You're asking for a fiscal, F-I-S-C-A-L, evaluation, a financial evaluation of Rebecca Powers. And every single person is entirely different because your risk level is different than your husband's risk level.
That's right.
than an adult child's risk level is different, definitely different if they're very, very young.
Right.
So everybody has their own risk level and their options, and that's part of what we do in the process of developing a blueprint, because a blueprint is just exactly like if you were to buy a piece of property. I'm not trying to compare you to a piece of property, but if there was to be a house built on your property, what I would have to do in order to give you the blueprint is I would have to survey it and go look at it. If I were a doctor, I would have to, if I were giving you a physical evaluation, you go in, and one thing I love, not really, telemedicine. I think it's nice sometimes to be able to see the doctor and not have to go in, but you know, telemedicine just ain't what real medicine is.
Does it hurt when I do this?
Yes, that's right.
No, that didn't hurt at all.
Right, and it was funny, last year they called me and they said, I had a physical scheduled, and they said, well, the doctor's going to have to turn this into a tele-appointment. And I said, well, wait. It's going to be a physical. I'll pretty much stop right about there. And I said, how is he going to be able to do all the things that oh yeah, I think you need to come in and see him. So they did get me scheduled, you know. But a doctor's got to be able to check you out and your blood pressure, your temperature,
body,
your whole body. You know, are there lesions on your skin? What do your eyes look like? Let me look in your ears. You know, all of those things to do a physical evaluation. One guy was signed up for an appointment, and he was a little reluctant to come in, and he told me, he said, well, I don't know if I want to bring all my stuff and let you look at it. I said, okay. I said, you sound busy. He said, yeah, I'm at the doctor's office. I'm here to get a physical. And so I asked, this guy's name was Fred, and I said, well, Fred, are you going to let the doctor look at you? He said, yeah, why do you ask? I said, because what's the doctor going to do? He's going to look in your ears, look in your nose, look in your eyes, look in your mouth, you know, do all of the things to give you a physical evaluation. Well, the same thing happens when you get a financial evaluation. We ask people as part of this program to come to meet with us and to talk with us so that we can give you a financial analysis. And the risk level that you're taking, where you should be risking, what you should be doing, all of that comes from the report. Now, if I were a broker, now I liken a broker, not to be mean to them, to a person who works at a Ford dealership selling Ford cars.
That's all they can sell is Fords.
All they can sell is Ford. And if you drove on the lot and said, I'm looking at a Toyota Camry, can you tell me why I should buy one? The Ford guy's going to look at you and say, what? Because that's what they do. Well, a broker pretty much has what they do. Some of the big box firms even take your portfolio, send it to a central home office, and the person you're working with never really has any input on where you're being invested. They just let the home office decide based on what they have and what they need to sell. So it's really important that somebody work with you on your lot to build your blueprint based on who you are. Now, we'll give you that, but we can't give you that and we can't mail it to you. You have to come in and sit down and talk to us about your goals, your objectives, where you're headed in life, and what your lot looks like, what your income needs are for inflation, what your investments are, how are those investments going to be taxed, what your health care coverage situation looks like, and then legacy, who do we want to leave all of that to? All of that is important in your particular blueprint, and that's what we give you. Now, you've got to call in. After we get back, we're going to talk about different places you can invest, but you need a blueprint before we can really tell you where you can invest. And to get that, you need to call us, 866-709-1462. We will do our best to build your blueprint specifically for you, but you've got to pick up the phone and call us.
It is absolutely complimentary. There is no cost involved, no obligation. And even if you want a second opinion, maybe your plan is perfect, but wouldn't it be nice to know? Stay with us. More with Tom Mosley and Right on the Money in just a minute.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
All right, so now we're going to continue that talk about where to invest. There are different places you can invest. Of course, the word diversification. So I'll give you a little bit of my background. Started in television about 24 years old in the New Orleans area in South Mississippi. I said, do you want to do a 401k? They said, sure, we'll match some of it. Okay, asked my dad. He said, sure, they'll match it. Forgot about it, never thought about it again. 25 years goes by. I don't even know when I leave TV. I didn't even know where the money was, who was managing it, what my risk was. All I heard was, don't worry, you're diversified. So here we are. Now I'm with an independent, such as yourself, and it's a whole new world. I didn't know where my money was being invested. I didn't understand it. Diversification, oh, what's your tolerance for risk? I don't know, I was 20-something years old. So let's talk about now educating. How do you invest? Where do you invest? What truly means, what is diversification?
Well, diversification just means a lot of different things. You know, there are different places you can put your money. For instance, a lot of people, particularly like my parents' age group, and my parents have both passed away, but I still run into a lot of people, they love banks. I mean, my dad particularly hated banks because he was born in 1928 and all the banks went broke and cost my granddad $38,000 in 1932, which was a big sum of money back then, okay? But banks are a good, solid place. And for a lot of years, a lot of people put their money in the bank because there's three things. Is it accessible? Is it liquid? Can you get a hold of it? Well, if it's in the bank, you can get a hold of it. Okay, is it safe? If it's in the bank and it's an FDIC bank, it's insured for $250,000 per depositor. Okay. So if two people are on that account, it's insured for $500,000. But will it grow in the bank? Even with the rates up, and I noticed recently that the CD rates with the interest rates going up, they sprung up. And now they're beginning to recede already because they don't know how long that the inflation rates will stay higher, because if the Fed's talking about backing off, they don't want to lock into a 5-year CD at a high interest rate and then have the Fed lower the interest rate, and then the banks get caught paying out too much interest, as though that could happen. So a bank, it's accessible, it's safe, but it not necessarily grow. So what happens is, and what's happened in the past few years, and it's one of the reasons we've had such volatility in the market, is a lot of people who could never make any money in a CD that was paying 1.5%, they decided to get in the market. And it's crazy the way people get in the market. The market is driven by fear and greed. And it's the only thing in the world, when the market takes off and is going really well the way it's done up until this year for 13 years in a row, when it's doing really well and really high priced, everybody wants to get in. And then when the market goes down and it's taking just a nosedive. Yeah, I almost said a dump, but you know what I'm saying, when it's taking that, when it's just dumping, okay, everybody wants to get out. And nothing else is that way. If the price of houses were sky high and you were thinking about adding a rental property, that wouldn't be the time to do it.
Right.
The time to do it is when the prices are low. But in the stock market, it's different. So let's run it through the grid. The banks, accessible, safe, but you can't grow. The stock market, it's accessible. You can sell whatever you buy in the stock market. It will grow, but we have to put a plus or minus on it. And this year we know that that middle one, is it safe?
Not safe.
It's not really safe, particularly for retirees who are saving and using their money for retirement. So let's go to that third, annuities. Okay, I hate annuities. Well, you hate annuities, but you love your Social Security, which is an annuity. You hate annuities, but you love your pension, which is an annuity. But an annuity is just something that's going to pay you out for as long as you live, and it will pay you, in many cases, the ones we use, an increasing amount for as long as you live, as long as you last, even after you run out of your money. You say, what? Yeah, it's an insurance policy. It's an insurance policy like life insurance is an insurance policy against living too short. An annuity is an insurance policy against living too long. So you cannot run out of that portion of your money. But is it accessible? No, I like to do this. You're handcuffed. Whatever money you put into the annuity, you are tied into that annuity. But is it safe? Absolutely safe. It's backed by the largest A+ rated financial institutions in the world. And will it grow? Yes, a fixed indexed annuity will grow 4, 5, 6% over a 10-year period, guaranteed increasing income as it's tied to an index. So if you look at it, if you back up, I want to cry because I put my money in the bank and it's accessible and it's safe, but it won't grow.
No.
And I put my money in the stock market and I can sell it and it'll grow most of the time, but sometimes it's not safe. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And the annuity, well, it's not accessible, but I do like the fact that it's safe and that it will grow. So why not go back to what you asked to start this segment? Why not diversify?
Yeah.
Instead of having one company that hates one of those groups and will only sell you the other.
Right.
And then insurance type people who hate investments and they will only sell you annuities. Why not have a diversified plan? Why not have some money in the bank? Wow, now think about this. I know we're stretching here. Some money in the market and some money in annuities to guarantee your income for life. What if you had a diversified plan that answered all of those? You say, well, can you send me that plan? No, I can have you come in for the financial review to see what your situation is, and then we can put together a perfect plan for you to give you what you need from your investments. And then it goes back to the risk level that we talked about. Those growth risk levels need to be two things. Your portfolio risk needs to match your personal risk.
Your tolerance.
Your tolerance. It has to be on the same page. That's what we're willing to do for you. You probably even say, well, we'll put you in something moderate. Let's give it a score. Let's give you a score from 0 to 100, and let's match those together to put you into investments that will allow you to sleep at night regardless of what the stock market is doing. That's what we offer when we offer you a retirement blueprint. But you've got to pick up the phone or scan the QR code and send us your information, get on our calendar, come in, and let us give you that review. Our number is 866-709-1462, 866-709-1462.
And this is absolutely no obligation and no cost. Leave your checkbook at home. Tom's team wants to meet you. I also want to say that Tom and his group are independent, so they can pick any product from the entire world. They are not just married to one certain company. All right, stay with us. More with Right on the Money and how you can retire with absolute peace right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back. We were talking about true diversification and kind of the different places where you can invest. Now we're going to talk about your 3-bucket theory. Let's talk about the different buckets and how you separate it.
Well, let's go back to the bank, to
Okay.
the stock market, and to income-producing vehicles like annuities. The first thing that you probably want, most probably need when you are in retirement is you need an emergency bucket. You need X amount of dollars. And the reason I say X amount of dollars, Rebecca, it's the same thing we've asked before. It's a feel question. It's not a logical fact question as to you need X amount of dollars when you're saving for retirement. You need X in your emergency buckets.
Right.
I've got some people that are happy with $5,000 in their emergency bucket.
Yeah.
I always ask people, what's the biggest emergency you've ever had? Because they always say, well, wait a minute, what if I tie that money up? That only leaves me, and I fill in the blank because they pause at that point, that only leaves you $800,000 that's not tied up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they say, and I always say, when's the last time you needed $800,000? And they say, well, I never have yet, you know, and I
Yeah.
don't think I ever will. But you need an emergency bucket. You're old enough to know that if you're watching this program. Things happen. The transmission goes out in your car, or you need a new car, or the refrigerator starts humming and it's not the right hum. And all of those things happen and you need an emergency bucket. Perfect place to put that. Accessible. It's safe. Doesn't need to grow because you need that money close. Put that money in the bank.
Okay.
Okay? And then you need an income bucket. An income bucket is money that I can count on. And if you need an income bucket, and you need, if you're not going to address the issue, there's 2 ways to do the income bucket. You can address the issue permanently by putting them enough money. If your portfolio will take it and still leave you enough free money. Everybody listening to me? But you could put enough money into a private pension, annuity, self-bought annuity that will pay you guaranteed increasing income for as long as you live, as long as your spouse live. If you say, well, I don't want to tie that much up, you could put enough into a guaranteed bucket that in bad years that you can draw from that guaranteed money, and then you're not drawing from a stock market. For instance, this year, if you just poured all your money like the accumulation phase where you just throw it all in the market, and it's all up and down, and right now it's down 20%, say,
Yeah.
then you're drawing money out of depreciated stock right now. And you're having to draw more units out to buy the income that you need to live off of. That's the growth bucket. That's the stock market. But maybe you need to address that income bucket with either all of it guaranteed or some of it guaranteed so that you take the risk out of that. Okay, let's put the money then in the growth bucket. You say, how much do I need to put in the growth bucket if I do that? I always say that if you want to be strictly at risk still, put 3 to 5 years in a very safe income bucket. If you need $30,000 a year, $2,500 more a month in addition to your social and your pensions and other stuff, put $30,000 a year. Put $90,000 to $150,000 in that income bucket. Put the rest of it in the market to your risk level, okay? I'm scared. Why? You don't need that money for 3 to 5 years. And one thing we know about the market historically, the market goes up, the market goes down, it comes back, it goes back down. So it fluctuates. So you can take the risk and the fear out of the market by giving it a long-term growth bucket out there, but addressing your income bucket. Let me go over them again. Your emergency bucket, put it in the bank. Your income bucket, either all or partially fund with a guaranteed product like a fixed indexed annuity, or a very, very safe bucket of portfolio that's built that's not going to grow very much, but it's not going to go down, that'll cover 3 to 5 years of your income, and then put the rest of the money in the market and let it grow. Now, let me address this issue of, I really don't know if I want to put my money into an annuity if that's what you're talking about. Well, let me give you some ideas here. If 10 years ago you had put $100,000 into the market and it had grown 7% and per year, and you pay 1% fees, because you always got to think about your fees,
Yeah.
you would have $7,273 right now of growth. Excuse me, you would have $181,000.
Okay, you scared me.
I know. You would have $181,000 in the market right now because of that growth. And you would be able to draw at 4%, the Monte Carlo model, $7,273
A year.
a year. Whereas if you had put that into a fixed indexed annuity, $100,000 10 years ago, on your life and your spouse's life, at the end of 10 years, your draw, if you had put it in 10 years ago, would be $18,846 a year.
Wow.
More than double.
A good example.
By using a vehicle that's built for income. 7% growth is going to produce you $7,273 a year. Putting the money into a fixed indexed annuity would produce, 10 years ago, if you'd have done it, $18,846 per year for you and your wife as long as you live. You need to call us. You need to check this out.
Yeah.
You need a plan, because if you're just leaving it in the market, you have so much risk involved. Do I need to tell you that after this year? Do I need to get you to open your statements and look at them again? You can't afford to live for the next 15, 20 years of retirement with it all at risk. You need a plan of diversification that addresses your income so that it's guaranteed, increasing for the rest of your life, and your spouse's life. That's what you need. And you need to scan the QR code or call us at 866-709-1462.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom. Thanks for joining us. Keep those questions coming in. We love you. We'll see you again next week.